Okay, what's going on, beautiful people, community, nutritional wellness podcast? Here we go. Today, it's all about blood sugar health. And I am joined by no stranger to this platform, Dr. Jonathan Dawson, a really good friend of mine, my practitioner, someone who I trust with my life and my health. And this community is really you guys have accepted him literally, like he's family. He's a better extension of who I am in a lot of respects. So I'm just so glad to keep seeing his face and name pop up on this platform. And just like you guys are emailing me, you're throwing it in the comments. You're showing love in DMs that you really respect and like the way he shares information. Again, he is specialized in a lot of the stuff that we talk about. So today, blood sugar health. We're going to discuss what is blood sugar health. Sometimes there is a fear around blood sugar, diabetes, pre-diabetic, type 1, type 2. And as the old folks in some of our Black and brown communities say, you got the sugars, and we don't know what that really means. So we want to talk a little bit more about it. And then also we want to discuss what happens to people who are pre-diabetic or are diabetic, and you're on some type of medication. And I get this question from time to time: how do I get off my medication? How do I get my life back? I don't want to prick myself. I don't want to stick this patch. You got the glucose monitor. You're seeing them everywhere, like tattoos now. And yes, it's one thing to monitor your sugar with AI and digital devices. However, it's not necessary with a balanced lifestyle. It's good at first if you're trying to figure out what spikes blood. It's a great device. But we want to get to a point where we don't need anything attached to us to tell us about us, because that's the body's job. The body, believe it or not, is designed with devices inside to let us know what's high, what's low. And we want to talk about what some of those symptoms are. So that way, if you are that person who wants to get to a place where you're in control of your health and you're not on diabetic medication, you want to get rid of that. You want to get rid of the devices that track your glucose. You're tired of being tired. You don't want to keep having the brain fog and the body crashes. This episode is for you. We're going to talk about some holistic and naturopathic approaches while not throwing shade on general medical practice as well. It's a community, it's a network. So again, I'm here with Dr. Dawson, and just like get right into it. So offline, you and I were talking about different topics of the year because again, you're my resident guest. So it's just certain things that we're going to be covering because our topics are spread out all the way until the end of this year. And when we got to blood sugar, it was almost like pick me kind of thing. And I was like, okay, you got it. What about blood sugar made you? I mean, it's a bunch of topics we're covering this year, but something about blood sugar in your eye. There was a conviction, but also a passion. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, for me in particular, as many of us may have experienced, I had a grandfather who was diabetic for years, right? And he passed away with, kidney disease, an amputated limb, blindness, various different complications of diabetes. And if I knew what I knew now back then, I would have been able to help him, right? And my father had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And within 8 weeks, I was able to help him go from a 8.0 hemoglobin A1C down to a 6.3 with changing diet alone, right? So blood sugar is so important. It regulates our metabolism and every function in our body. And so if we don't have that under control, most other things are going to suffer. So that's why blood sugar metabolism is so important and something that I regularly address for my patients.
Gotcha. Now you said something about dad with type 2. There's also a type 1 and a type 2 diet, and then I keep hearing there's speculated type 3, in the foreshadow because they're linking dementia with blood sugar. Well, I should say they're connecting it with insulin and just blood sugar lack of control. Do you mind just sharing the differences of type 1, type 2, and whatever you may know with the connection of dementia now being associated with poor blood sugar health?
Yeah, so type 1 is usually found in adolescence, right? And so that's usually more of an autoimmune condition. And then there's actually a type 1.5, which is usually later in life, people get type 1. And so that's very uncommon, but it can happen. Then there's type 2, which is dealing with insulin resistance, right? Which is usually kind of a self-inflicted condition, right? Based on what our diets look like, how much sugar and carbs that we're consuming, our bodies begin to resist insulin as a really survival mechanism. All right, so it's an intelligent response, but it's an adaptive state. So want to change that. So can it be corrected? Yes, if we change the environment. And then type 3 diabetes is very, very important because when you start to see your brain does not need insulin, okay? And so that's why they're linking type 3 to blood sugar metabolism. And so when your brain begins to take in so much insulin, it can lead to dementia and other loss of function that way. So,
Wow. And in other words, when it comes to all three types, adapting, meaning, because you said this on another episode, that the body is so, God created it in a very intelligent kind of way. So inflammation inherently isn't bad. Getting a cold where your fever, your temperature goes high isn't inherently bad. This is the body's way of protecting itself, because if it did not do that stuff, you would die or you would stroke out or whatever. So also what I think I'm hearing is that the body's response to too much insulin or to poor blood sugar health is what we see or we call diabetes or pre-diabetic. It's the body signaling that, hey, something is not right, and that and we can't keep going at this state because we're going to adapt to the new way of being. And if that's the case, we're going to treat insulin and sugar like we and glucose like we weren't designed to treat it. So what can you speak on that a little bit more? Like, people are saying it, some doctors are saying it can't be reversed, or they just want to give medication, especially they say you get to type 2, that's it. So can you speak to how intelligent the body really is and more about the environment, diet, and exercise or movement to help reverse that curse?
yeah, so, when we look at the body, it's hard to just say, okay, it's broken, right? Um, because we have checks and balances, which again is an intelligent response, right? So if you start running, your blood pressure is going to increase to meet the demand of oxygen to your extremities. Now, if you're sitting on the couch and you're not exerting yourself and your blood pressure is
Yeah.
going up, obviously that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, if you take medication to offset that blood pressure, then it's not going to allow you to get the perfusion of oxygen to your tissues, which over time is a ticking time bomb, right? So same thing with blood sugar. One way I like to explain it is, let's say we're in the winter, right?
Okay.
And every day the state came by and they dropped off 2 logs so that you can put into your fire. Okay.
Okay.
The first day, you take 1 log, you put it in the fire. The second log, you store in the closet. Okay. Because you don't need it for that day. But every day they bring by 2 logs. So every day you take 1 log and you burn it. The second one you store it. Now this happens over a month. Now your storage is full, right? You don't need any more logs. But they come by and they say, you know what? We bring 2 logs every day. You got to take logs. So now they punch holes in the walls of your house and they just start forcing the logs in, right? Again, you're taking 1 log and you're putting it into the fire and you're trying to store it. Now you got logs in the walls, you got logs in your storage, and you're like, look, I can't take any more logs anymore, right? That's how the cell responds to insulin when we have too much glucose, okay? So your
Wow.
cell needs glucose in order to create what's called ATP, which allows every metabolic function to happen in the body. But when your cell gets to the point where it has too much glucose, it tells your body no to the insulin, like, I can't take any more, right? Because there's something called apoptosis, like the cell will burst and it will die. Okay. So you can't take too much, even if it's a good thing, right? So your body begins to resist the insulin, which pushes out the glucose, which then your body becomes insulin resistant or type 2 diabetic. Okay. So if we change the environment, change the scenario, you change your diet, you're not taking in as many carbs or glucose. Now you have to use what's in your storage to put on the fire. So now you start taking the logs out of your storage, putting it into the fire in order for it to burn. Okay. It's going to get to a point to where now you use all your storage and now you can start taking in more logs. Okay.
Wow.
So then your diet can change and shift. So same thing. If we begin to reduce your carbs, you begin to use fat for energy versus sugar, your body will burn fat, and then you'll begin to go into what's called ketosis. Okay?
Gotcha.
That reduces inflammation, allows you to lose weight, burn fat, and allows your body to heal. That reverses the insulin resistance, and then you can reverse type 2 diabetes.
Wow. And what's realistic? So someone's pre-diabetic or they're diabetic and they are on medication. I mean, everyone's situation is different. Do you mind sharing caution on what it's like to just stop medication and then all of a sudden do this whole like get my life on track thing? What are some of the things that you kind of caution when you're dealing with someone who's ate a certain way and now they see the light? And they either looked at this podcast or they saw something on YouTube, like, oh man, okay, I can reverse this. I don't need medication anymore. And they cold turkey everything. Can you caution what that looks like a little bit?
Yeah, of course, again, if you're on medication that's lowering your blood sugar, it's going to spike, right? That's going to increase your risk of any symptom or complication of diabetes. Okay, that can lead to blindness. It can lead to, your extremities having edema, all these different things, right? Neuropathy. So you definitely don't want to uncontrollably have diabetes, right? So if you are on medication for a certain period of time to help manage while you change your diet and you begin to lower your blood sugar, I would say definitely follow your doctor's recommendations. Now, when you are taking your blood sugar every morning, that's why that's so important, because as it starts to decrease as you change your diet, then you can talk to your doctor about reducing your insulin or reducing your metformin or whatever medication you may have. Okay. So it's definitely not just a cold turkey, I'm getting off and I'm gonna go from there, right? But as you go along and you change your diet, you're reducing the carbs, you're going into ketosis, your numbers will shift and change. Your hemoglobin A1C will go down. Your fasting glucose will be below 100 in the morning. Like those are the good signs that things are reversing and changing. So then you can wean yourself off. So my patients will talk to their medical doctor and they will actually tell them, if you wake up in the morning and your fasting glucose is below 100, then maybe you cut your insulin in half, right? So you don't have to use as much during the day, or you take half of the metformin, whatever that may be. So you start to wean yourself off and your body will gradually go back to that set point.
Because that's the body's design, the homeostasis, just to get back to balance without the support of outside forces, unless it's whole foods or movement, or being in a better environment. So we spoke about the diet. Certified personal trainer here, and I know you are well versed when it comes to just fitness and movement and just chiropractic. I mean, you got it all. Can we drill the importance of the movement part? So yes, diet is also great, but you use the visual art form of logs in the house. So how do people burn those logs? Because I hear Ozempic, I hear GLP-1, I hear all these different things. People are thinking that they only have to burn logs because I get some people who say, "Hey, I'm at the point of no return, so I do need that help." I say, "Okay, I get it." However, there's still a responsibility of movement because movement is just not for aesthetics. Movement and exercise is also for burning logs and regulation and metabolism. So can you really, I mean, drill hard on the importance of movement and not just relying on any drug form to help you reduce weight or to help you with insulin or blood pressure? What is the importance, like if you had to drill it home, what is the importance of exercise and movement for every age group?
Yeah, I would say number one, food is fuel, right? We
Mm,
use fuel in order to produce work, and movement is that, okay? Especially if you have a diabetic, they want to be moving those big muscles in their body, all right? Activating their glutes, their hamstrings, their quads. So, I've had patients who were diabetic and the sugar spiked, all right?
mm.
So I would just tell them, look, do bicycles sitting in a chair, just moving your legs, right? As you do bicycles, you're activating your quads, you're activating your glutes, and that can help use some of that sugar or
Wow.
glucose and bring your sugar down. Okay. So yeah,
Mm,
movement is key. That's the goal, is to fuel those muscles. Um, but I will say, right, I've had patients who have not done a whole lot of movement, but they change their diet and we lower their blood sugar, right?
wow.
Because again, if we're not taking in so many carbs, we can utilize the storage. Okay.
Wow.
And so changing that metabolic process is the key. So I get a little bit of frustration with the whole GLP-1 craze, I'll be honest. And
I hear
step on this
you.
step box for a second. But the reason why is because you do not have a broken appetite. We
Mm,
have checks and balances, right? Our body will trigger to our brain that we are hungry when we don't have nutrients.
mm.
So if you are eating nutrient, lack of nutrient type food that just has empty calories, when you
Yeah.
keep snacking on that type of food, it's going to signal to your brain, oh, yeah, I'm chewing, I'm eating, but I don't have the vitamin D. I don't have the protein. I don't have the good fats,
Wow.
the omega 3s,
Wow.
the things that I need in order to fuel these functions that I need in my metabolism. So then your
Wow.
brain says, we need food. So that's where the cravings come, because it's
Wow.
food like substances that have no nutrients. Okay.
Facts. Well, on top of that, this is my frustration. So I mean, we just gonna get it out. We just gonna get our frustration out today. So my frustration. Well, let me say this first. So community, what he said, family. I mean, hear this. Don't feel the pressure of, okay, I'm going to now take control of my blood sugar, meaning I have to join a gym membership today and I got to throw out all my snacks. What the good doctor is saying is you can just start with the diet change, some moderation in your diet, and then you start to feel better about your energy, about yourself, which will give you better fuel to then start to do movement and exercise. So that was very important. I heard that and I was like, I'm glad he said that because that's not said too much. Usually it's snap, all or nothing. Snap, snap, snap. You gotta snap. You gotta, do whatever the case may be. And he said, no, no, no. Listen, listen. You can literally just make some tweaks with your diet. You can slow down on the carbs, the complex carbs. You can slow down on the simple. You can slow down on the simple carbs and complex carbs, and you can moderate. You can burn more fat. He's saying get with a nutritionist, get with a holistic practitioner, get with a dietitian, get with a health coach. Just get with someone who's going to help you better understand the food part. And then when you get comfortable, you can do the fitness part. Now, some of you may want to do both. That's good. But I'm just saying, get to a point where you don't pressure yourself to do both. All right, guys. So frustration. So for me, I feel like when it comes to uh, people's blood sugar, when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to the next chapter of their lives, I feel like um what GLP, what is it? GLP-1,
LP1.
Ozempic, those things. I'm not so this is the middle ground. So I know some people who used it, got a head start, and then got off of it and just was doing what they were supposed to do. Um, do you all right, before I get that out, do you feel that there's ever a case and point for it? Now I know again, we're holistic, we're naturopathic, we'd rather do some dandelion root tea, we'd rather do the herbalist stuff, but we're a healthy-ish community. So can you just, just a little nice, like, do you mind just helping pacify us just a little bit? I have one or two listeners who are probably like, oh, is there any case and scenario? Let's say someone's already on it, and I don't want them to drive off the bridge. They're already on it. I don't want them to hate themselves. If they are on it, they spoke with their doctor about it. What advice would you give them in regards to, hey, you're on it now, but this is what I would caution, and this is what I would suggest, so that way they have something proactive that they can work on while they're getting off of it or while they're on it?
Yeah. So my biggest thing is lifestyle changes, right? At the end of the day, if you don't eat, you're going to lose weight. Let's just be honest, right? Mm-hmm. So GLP-1 is all pretty much focused. You can boil it down to is appetite suppressant, right?
Okay.
So it's reducing your appetite, which then you won't eat, which then you will lose weight. The thing is are you losing healthy weight, or are you just wasting away? And for most people, when you look at the research, they're wasting away. They're losing muscle and they're losing fat. Okay.
Wow.
And then when they get off of the GLP-1, they gain the fat back, but they don't gain the muscle back. Wow. And you know why? It's because they're not eating adequate nutrients. You have to have the right amount of protein in order to build muscle, right? Eat carbs also to build muscle, and you need good fat, right? So when you're suppressing your appetite, you're creating a habit that is unhealthy. You cannot starve yourself skinny and think you're going to be healthy.
Wow.
And so the reason why I have such a strong stance on the GLP-1 craze is because you're not creating a healthy habit of lifestyle eating. You're actually going to be afraid of food. And I've had patients like that who are afraid to eat. Okay. And that's without the GLP-1. And I've had people who are very skinny or overweight that are scared to eat. They don't have a healthy relationship to food. So GLP-1 actually is negative reinforcement of that. And that is why I'm like, let's not focus so much on suppressing your appetite. Let's focus on getting you nutrient-dense food in the proper distribution to meet your health goals. So there is a way for you to gain muscle and also lose fat. I see it all the time. I mean, I've had patients over 300 pounds gain muscle while losing fat. Without GLP-1, without suppressing their appetite. Why? Because the body's intelligent. It will release GLP-1 when it needs to. It will release ghrelin, which is your appetite hormone, when it needs to, right? Like, you don't need to shut it off.
Wow.
You need to provide the proper nutrients for your body.
Someone needs to hear this. Wow. Yeah. Someone needed to hear this. Wow.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I actually have a patient now who is about to do a discovery call with me, and he's been on GLP-1, and he was telling me, "Oh yeah, I'm one of the ones that need it. I'm pre-diabetic and da 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 da." And I'm like, "But
Mm.
why do you need it though? Like,
Mm.
if you
Who
ate
told you needed it? Yeah, because that's
right,
the other thing. Who told you need it?
right," which his
Because
doctor told him that he needed it. Like he was
yeah,
one of the ones because he's pre-diabetic, and
wow,
I think obviously there's kind of their algorithm of prescription of medication. And to them,
mm,
that's a person that needed it, right? Like you're saying, maybe they just need a jump start. Let's, let you lose some weight really quick. But losing weight doesn't
wow,
necessarily balance blood sugar all the time,
nope,
especially if you're starving yourself. Okay. So starving yourself is never the way to become healthy. Will you lose
mm,
weight? Yeah, you will. The same thing with gastric bypass, right? You see a gastric bypass, at the beginning, people are losing weight, but
mm-hmm,
it becomes a thing where they become nutrient deficient
mm,
because they don't have enough stomach to absorb nutrients. So now
wow,
they have a wasting away effect, right?
wow,
So we really have to look at what is going to make us healthier at the end. And that's
yep,
the way that I go. And I know that may sound anti medication, which is not. It's more of how does our body naturally function? And how do we get our body to where we don't need
yeah,
outside influence for it to function the way that it was designed to
yeah.
beautifully, right? So,
Outside manipulation.
right.
It doesn't need outside manipulation to do what it's been birthed to do. Doc, we got 2 minutes left. Oh my God! All right, in these 2 minutes, we'll just have to figure out another day to do this. Because we was going to talk about gestational diabetes. I mean, women who are pregnant. That's an issue that came up. Their diabetes. What is that? When their sugar goes crazy. As other things like when the body is craving sugar. Sometimes it's parasitic. Cancer cells love sugar. Yeast. A lot of things that don't belong in the body crave sugar. So if you're having that insatiable like sugar craving, it's an unnatural craving. It's usually because the body needs some detoxification. There's parasites. There's just things in you that are not satisfied. So you're going to get that craving. But we'll have to say that for another day. With a minute and a half left, I want to start doing something with Coach's Corner where my guest just gets to cook for a minute. And before you do that, just everyone know he is located in California and he's virtual, but he also has in office. So if you're not in California, like I am from time to time, then you can definitely use him virtually, which I also do, and make sure that you get your discovery call, get your consultation. He'll be able to take the labs because again, certain things are in our spirit and our heart. Like this don't sound right. Your MD told you something, or specialist told you something. It doesn't sound right. Doesn't sit right. He's really great at looking at those labs and finding what's wrong because he's not going off of the average that they pick because it's an average off of healthy and unhealthy people. He's going on the average of healthy people. So just 30 seconds, Doc, give something about blood sugar and some advice and how can we find you?
Yeah, I would say
That
number
was a
one,
lot.
get tested, right? I would say
Okay.
50, I think the stat says 50% of people that are diabetic don't even know it. Okay. So
Mm,
getting proper testing is the most important thing. Checking your fasting glucose, but also your hemoglobin A1C. Okay. Your hemoglobin A1C is pretty much like a 3-month marker of your blood sugar. On top of that, checking your insulin, right? If you're spiking insulin very high, that is what increases your risk of.
all right, we back. Hey, community family. We're back. It cut off because guess what? Your boy tried to go back to Zoom Basic, and the free version just doesn't let us go past 30 minutes. So we upgraded. We're back. No more cutoffs. You were saying you were finishing. I actually got a couple extra minutes now. So Dr. Dawson, you were telling people how to get in touch with you, but you know what? I'm gonna just follow gut right now. So go back a little bit. So we finished off talking about the body. We said GL1P. Listen, community, if you haven't taken it yet, this was your sign that you might not need to take it. Check in with Dr. Dawson first, or your whoever you trust, but this is who we've been trusting. So make the investment. Do a discovery call with him and share this with him and what you're thinking about doing. It may save you a lot of regret down the line. You're talking about introducing something to your body that manipulates appetite. Some people are saying influence. Some people may say encourage. Some may people say discourage appetite, but technically it's just manipulating it. You're adding something to the body that the body naturally does, but you're tricking it just to suppress an appetite. However, if your relationship to food is not where it needs to be, if you don't have an active lifestyle, if you don't have a nutrition plan, then the GL1P is just going to stress you out because once you get off of it or once you're not seeing what you need to see, it's going to open up other issues, especially people who are dealing with lifestyle changes. You're getting older, women who may be peripausal, menopausal. It's just going to start tricking stuff. I mean, the hormonal balance is going to be it's wild enough as a human as it is. It just complicates things when it doesn't have to. And again, this is nothing against any company that makes the GL1P. Where did my screen go? You still there with me, doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the last video was converting. So this is nothing against the good makers of whoever makes this stuff. Make your money. However, we are supporting our community and we're keeping it. You know, I've been playing in a little safe community with some of these episodes, and it's like, nah, we just got to start telling it like it is. Like, it's a money game. It's all about people. It's profit. This is capitalism at its worst sometimes, and you are sometimes the test dummy. We are the test dummies, and if you don't know, now you know. You get with a trusted network of professionals who have dedicated their life to study. We didn't take the easy route. We could have taken a route to profit off your pain, but instead we're letting you know that you have all the tools you need to get back on track. We're not selling magic pills on this show. We're not selling magic formulas. All we're telling you, we're selling lifestyle. That's what we're selling. And it's a lifestyle that you have full control over. These companies are making money off of your fear. They're making money off of your insecurity, and they're making money off your lack of knowledge. So we're telling you today, you don't need, I don't care what anybody says, you could invite them to the show. You don't need manipulation to get your body back on track. Now, if you decide to do that, that's fair because you have that right, you have that prerogative. But just also understand it doesn't negate the fact that you have a responsibility to stay active and you have a responsibility to have proper diet management to fit a lifestyle, so that way you're not dependent on said drug or said whatever they're prescribing you these days. All right, Dr. Dawson, it's on you now. What you gonna do? Please, so Coach's Corner almost didn't do it because we didn't have the time. So that was like my little coach's moment. I want to give you a moment just to bring it all home. And what's the word you would give to the people when it comes to their blood sugar health? Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think I was mentioning before, but 50% of people that have diabetes don't even know it, right? So making sure that you are being tested for that is highly important. So getting your fasting glucose tested, but also your hemoglobin A1C. Okay, that hemoglobin A1C marker is a 3-month marker of your blood sugar. And then also looking at your insulin level. If you're spiking insulin, that is what leads to the high-risk chronic disease conditions, whether that's heart disease, diabetes, high cholesterol. All these risk factors is really boiled down to the insulin resistance that you might be having due to that insulin spike, okay? So that's why, again, regulating your blood sugar is so important. Yeah. We also see that blood sugar reflects onto the thyroid, hormone regulation. Any medical system or process in your body is going to be influenced by your blood sugar because that is what's fueling it, okay? And another thing, our liver is so important, and that's the first place where we store sugar. And our liver does so many different things.
Wow.
So again, fatty liver disease, high triglyceride, all these various different things show the picture of what your blood sugar is looking like.
Wow. Community, we appreciate you guys. We love you all. This platform again, we're not here to treat, we're not here to diagnose, we're not here to cure. We're all we're doing is providing strategy and tools and giving you less excuse to get control of your health. We want to see you happy, want to see you healthy. Your moodiness, your lack of energy, your brain fog, your cravings, your mental drag, moments of sadness, depression, that can be associated to diet, and it can be associated with lack of movement. All we're doing here on this platform is reminding you that you have more influence over that than you realize. Don't wait for anybody, any doctor to come save your life and save the day when it comes to lifestyle. Now, if it's a medical emergency, yes, that's their lane. Their lane is to preserve life, but it's your lane to make sure that that life is full of just energy and full of what is needed to be there for you and the tribe that counts on you. So thank you for listening to this episode. Next week, we're going to be talking about cholesterol health. I know I've been reading you guys' comments and feedback. Like you're like, you want to know what's coming up. So yeah, next week is cholesterol health, where we go deeper in regards to that. We're joined by Dr. Nancy Silva, which will be a great episode. Are you in that one too, or no?
I think so. I think we might both be doing the
I think it's
cholesterol as well.
okay. So this is by accident. I didn't I realized that. I mean, accident meaning I'm bringing it up. So we're as on our community podcast. This will be the first time we have two professional experts on a subject. So pray for us, because this is going to be really cool, because these are two of my favorite people. But this means you get double community. So tune in next Friday for next Friday for Coach's Corner. So that way you can hear cholesterol health from two naturopathic practitioners in the space, two people who are big on naturopathic and holistic healing. None of them are going to sell a product at the end. It's not as seen on TV, and there's more. There's none of that. We're just giving you the real deal that maybe your doctor is not giving you, because they may be incentivized. No shade to your doctor. I don't know your doctor, but it's out there. I work in a hospital. They may be incentivized to prescribe you. That's their algorithm, to provide you what they think will be good for you, but they aren't fully versed on what's good for you. They're fully versed on what's good for the average. So you need to make sure you have a network of professionals like a Dr. Dawson to look deeper into what's going on with your health concerns, because it's also on you. I mean, it's on you. Your hormones are on you. And as we look more and more, we see news on the government about vaccines and COVID shot. You get the okey doke down the road. Is nobody you can sue. Is nobody who you can yell at or fuss, because it's this is why this platform is here now. No more okey dokes. Like, you're now going to have the answers. You're not going to be fooled by what's trending. You have all these supplements on going. We're going to start exposing some of these supplements, by the way, too. But community, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, health is wealth, and we're just here to make sure y'all getting paid. Until next time, yum on. See y'all next week. Cholesterol health.